What's up, boys and girls? 3X back in the building once again. Welcome to another one of my vlogs. And today I want to kind of try to follow up on my previous vlog that I did, which was talking about fanboys. If you haven't watched that one, there'll be a link to that specific vlog right here or somewhere within that area. Do check that out. But what I wanted to talk about right now is a little bit of an extension of fanboyism, which is not actually a technical term, but something that is a technical term, which is the direct descendant or grandfather, if you will, of fanboyism, which is fanaticism, and how it's really had a negative effect, or is having a negative effect on the gaming industry. Now, I'm pretty sure anybody who's been following the game industry is familiar of the ridiculousness that is going on regarding Call of Duty Black Ops, and how there was this apparent backlash from the user base regarding a patch that was deployed that rebalanced and nerfed and buffed certain weapons, and how the developer or programmer who had made the announcement was actually getting death threats for this. Now, when I first heard about it, I originally thought that, there is no way that people could be so stupid, for lack of a better term. But then I stopped and realized exactly what it is we're talking about here, which is the gaming industry in general. An industry whose user base, the players themselves, go off on so many different ridiculous rants and tangents. I guess you could call this a rant in itself, but mine's, on the other hand, makes sense. But anyway, you have this group of people who are so passionate to the point of complete blind ignorance that their reactions to certain things, to somebody who is on the outside and doesn't know anything about the industry, can make certain judgments about video games and the people who play video games. And this article that I had read on the website Polygon.com, I'll have a link to that in the description as well. Pretty good reading. I suggest you definitely check it out. Goes into detail, this article does, about these certain behaviors that gamers have, and how it is that they have a penchant of taking things to extremes. And when I say extremes, I mean huge extremes. It's just absolutely amazing. And one of the most poignant things, one of the most important statements that this article made is that the greatest threat to the video game industry nowadays are the video gamers themselves. The very people who play the games, the very people who purchase the games, are the greatest threat to the industry. Not companies, not developers, not publishers, but the people themselves. People like you and me, who put our time, effort, and money into this industry. That couldn't be any more true, because the thing that I think that a lot of people don't seem to realize or understand here is that the video game industry is just like any other industry. The very fact that we call it an industry should imply to everybody that this is a business that we're talking about here. These are people, the developers and publishers and people who work for these companies, who are out to make a profit. They are out to make a living for themselves doing what it is that they enjoy doing, which just so happens to be making video games. So to go out there and threaten these people for doing what it is that they do and changing things to make the experience possibly more beneficial to a broader audience of people who are purchasing their games is dumb. Is just plain stupid. I'm sorry, I can't sugarcoat it, and I can't really find any other word to say about it except that it is dumb. And for people to take it to that extreme, these are people then obviously who have some serious mental issues, some psychological, social baggage that needs to be checked. Now, it doesn't help the fact that you're also talking about the majority of these responses and these threats come via Facebook or Twitter or emails or such like that. The internet really doesn't help matters. As a matter of fact, I will go as far as to say that the internet is probably the most destructive force in the entire gaming industry. Because whereas one would think that having that window, that transparency in place, that is the internet, that gives that medium where the players can communicate with the developers, you would think that that would be something that's productive. But yet time and time again, it has not been productive. If anything, that window has been more of a crosshair, so to speak, where you have these fanatics out here who can basically go and contact whoever it is that they want and say whatever it is that they want without worry of repercussion, because there is no regulation over the internet as far as to what it is that you can say or do, or what it is that you can aim at other people in what you say or what you do. Now, obviously, there are certain aspects that are positive. Companies do get a lot of feedback and market research through the internet. But then on the other hand, you have the stuff that happened as far as Call of Duty Black Ops 2 went, and as far as Fez 2 also, where basically that whole project has been completely snubbed because of backlash from the user base. These are people, ladies and gentlemen. I say it again. These are people. Regular, living, breathing human beings. And when you have to deal or potentially deal with people who are so bitter and violent and just plain, what's the word I'm looking for? Unmanageable. It affects your desire to want to continue to do what it is that you do. You have developers out there, you have employees of development houses who quit, who leave, because they don't want to have to deal with that constant hounding and harassment by certain individuals who just don't seem to understand the idea of it's just a game. And this is not a majority of people. I'm not saying that it is a majority of people. Not every gamer out there acts in this way. But if we all know anything, we know that media outlets and places of that sort who would cover certain things such as this will put that in the light of it being where it is that everybody who plays video games acts this way. It's already enough that you have so many religious buffs and politicians who will instantly blame video games for any form of violent act that anybody between the ages of 18 to 35 might perform or inflict on other people. That's the first thing that they blame, video games. So then to turn around and have a situation where gamers are actually threatening the people who make the games, I mean, you think about it for a second and you tell me, if somebody that you know who doesn't play video games hears about that, what is it that they're going to think about gamers hearing something like that? And that right there is the whole long and the short of the story. the bad apples spoiling the bunch. And they do it in more than one way. They do it by giving everybody who is in the gaming industry a negative light. And they do it by making it so that people who are in the industry directly don't want to be in the industry anymore. And in the end, the industry itself is going to suffer because of that. Because then you will have a whole bunch of potentially creative minds out there. People who could be coming up with ideas that could revolutionize gaming for this coming generation and beyond. Having their creativity be completely stubbed because of fear for their lives, their families, and their sanity, because you have a couple of freaking knuckleheads out there who can't control their sanity. And that right there is a very, very upsetting point that I make. Because it's really gotten to a point where it's out of control. And the sad part is that the only way that it can get under control is when people start to control themselves. And unfortunately, there's no real way I see that happening. Not in this day and age. Not where you have assholes, for lack of a better term, who can utilize the advantage of internet anonymity to spread their hate and ignorance and other forms of idiocy as freely as they want without any repercussion or threat of retaliation or legal action whatsoever. It really sucks. I can't really say it any more simpler than that. It sucks. It's something that really needs to be dealt with, but it's one of those things that can only be dealt with on an individual basis at this present time, unless something is done as far as regulating how it is that people act and how it is that people behave online, which opens up a completely different topic altogether as far as privacy on the internet and internet rights and freedom of expression, freedom of speech, things of that nature. So it's a very broad spanning topic that we're going on here. But in its base form, as far as it is that we're talking about in terms of video gaming, it's something that if left unchecked can be very, very destructive. Not just towards the games themselves, but the gamers themselves, and in turn the entire gaming industry. And the sooner that people realize that, the better off everybody is going to be. And it all basically starts, like I said a couple of minutes ago, with one simple thing. And that is people realizing, understanding, and accepting the fact that this is just a video game. This thing right here, this controller that you put in your hands on a daily basis, is not your life. It's a hobby. It's escapism, yes, but it's little else than that. So when you threaten somebody who makes this their livelihood, who is trying to make a living off of this, and you deter them from doing this, then that's less one person that you have making this, which makes it one less opportunity for you to be able to do this in the future. And I hope I make that as clearly, abundantly obvious as possible, to where whoever it is that might happen to watch this video stops and thinks about that before they start taking things completely to heart as far as a game goes, or a console goes, or a patch, or anything of the sort. Because it's not the end of the world. It's not your life. And if it is your life, then you need to put that controller there down, take a step outside and take a look around at the world around you, because it's not just what you see on your screen. That is life. So thanks for watching. And if you liked this video, if you enjoyed it, or if you found anything informative out of it, please click on that like button. Again, I'll have the specific article that I read that brought forth this vlog down in the description below. And of course, subscribe to my channel for more vlogs, more gaming goodness, walkthroughs, and all the rest of that stuff. So until next time, this is Thr33X once again, and I'm out. Peace. They don't support you in any way. None. They're businesses, companies, not friends. They're only out for one thing: money, greenbacks, yours, and they'll take you for however much it is that you're willing to pay for them, regardless of your opinion of them.